Here we have it, the man of the hour. He played in the NFL for 13 years. He was an NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, an NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He was an 8-time Pro Bowl, NFL's 2000 All-Decade Team, one of 100 greatest Bears of all time, and in 2018, he was inducted in the National Football League Hall of Fame. Please welcome Brian, the good-looking bastard, the New Mexico Kid, Urlacher in the house. How are you, baby?
That's a good intro, Eddie, but it's the Professional Football Hall of Fame. It's not the NFL Hall of Fame.
Oh,
It's the
fuck. I
Professional
fucked
Football,
up. All
Pro
right.
Football Hall of Fame. Come on. You were reading that shit? Is that what you were doing?
No, I wasn't
Looked like
reading
you
that
were-
because I said to myself, because I'm so used to Major League Baseball players. That's why.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
and in basketball is everything as well, right? They have the or basketball's different because they have any level, right? You don't have to play professional to be in the Hall of Fame.
Right, exactly. So,
Yeah, sorry, screwed you up there. Sorry about that.
so my bad on that. But you know what? I'm glad you corrected me because the next Hall of Fame football player, that's how I got to say it now.
There you go, Professional
So-
Football Hall of Fame.
Yes, Professional Football Hall of Fame. So I'm glad that because, correcting me is great because I learned from my mistake. That's all.
That's how we get better.
Exactly. So, Brian, here's my question, right? You know, when I watched your Hall of Fame speech, and I texted you during the week,
Yeah.
and I said to myself, holy shit, man. The mother you had, and may she rest in peace, it's like, your father left you. You moved from Washington to New Mexico. She had to work 2 to 3 jobs. What was that like, man? I mean, like, did you feel like I got nothing, but I have something? I have a family. It's my mom.
Yeah, we never felt like we had nothing. My mom was amazing. You know, when my parents divorced, I think I was 6 or 7 when we went to New Mexico. All the Urlackers still live in Washington. That's all my uncles, my aunts all still live there, and I'm still close to them. But we moved, man, and my mom just picked up. She thought that was best for us, my brother, my sister, and myself. So we moved to New Mexico, to Lovington. But man, it was tough. My grandparents were there, which was nice because we had them. But my mom busted her ass, man, because she had nothing. We had nothing. My dad didn't pay child support. She had no financial support from anybody but herself. And I think my grandparents might have helped out. I don't remember, long ass time ago. But man, whatever she had to do, she cleaned houses. She worked at the grocery store. She was the youth center director. She just did. Whatever she had to do to make ends meet is what she did. You know what was crazy about all that shit? And you probably heard this in my speech. She was at every game. My brother, sister, and myself all played sports. She didn't miss practice, games, and I got 3 kids, and I couldn't make it to all their stuff, and I didn't have a job. So after I retired, but she did it, working 3 jobs. She was an amazing woman, man. She was incredible. Busted her ass for our family.
You know, it's crazy. My mom also was the same thing. My father left us when I was 4, my brother and I. And what's so interesting about your story is that your mom bought you, what were you, mowing the lawn? And it was great just to make money because what I would do is I would go to the neighbors and I would knock. I'm like, hey, I could mow your lawn right now if you
Mow
want.
your yard.
Right?
Hell yeah.
You did the same
Cash
thing?
in hand, right? Cash
Yeah.
in hand, right?
Tax-free,
mow the
baby,
yard,
tax-free.
You get $20 or my buddy and I did it for a couple summers, and we had a route we do, our little schedule every week of yards we'd mow. I think one house was $14, one was $20. We had one like $28. So we split everything down the middle, but we'd push our lawnmower around Lovington and mow people's yards.
Yeah, and so now here's what's great about that. It's tax-free,
Yeah,
right? And,
for sure. Unless you get a check. We don't want the checks.
well, no, but I'm sure back in your days, here you go, Brian.
It was cash. It was
Cash,
cash. Yeah, you're right.
right.
Yep.
So, in high school, were you the guy, Brian? Were you the man? Like, here's the thing. This is what I want to ask you. Like, when you when you watch your kid Kennedy, like when he was in high school, right? Then
Yeah.
you see a couple of kids, you're like, oh shit, that's the man.
Those
Were you
dudes
that
are
guy?
the man. Yeah. I feel like I was, but I don't like now looking back, I was, but when you're in it, I don't feel like I was like the guy. We won state my senior year in football. We had a good ass team, man. I was pretty good, but we had some dudes, man. We had, we had like 25 guys on our team, and 8 of us played both ways. But we had some dudes that could play football. I played basketball, but what was crazy about my high school? My kids went to schools where 3,000 and 4,000 kids in high school. That shit's crazy to me. My school had like 500 kids, and I knew every person's name in my high school. I'll ask Riley. I'm like, Riley, who was that? She goes, I don't know. I go, don't you go to school with them? She goes, yeah. But I go, how do you not know him? She goes, bro, there's 4,000 kids in my high school. I don't know him. I was like, okay, that makes sense. So everyone was kind of friendly where I grew up. So I didn't really feel it. I mean, you never really feel like you're the man because you're friends with everybody. If that makes sense.
No,
You're
but
just
I'm
like
saying,
just one of the people. That's it.
no, as far as the man being like that athlete, like, when you see kids
Yeah.
now, you're like, oh shit, yo, that's the guy right there. He
Well,
destroys.
athletically, I was different.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was different athletically. Football wise, basketball wise, I was pretty good. Track sucked, but I didn't like it, but I had to run it for football. But yeah, obviously, athletically, I was different.
Now, this picture right here, Brian. This is
Uh-oh.
you, 11th
Oh, you.
grade right there.
That's right. Bro, look how tan I am. I'm yoked up, too.
Oh, look at that.
Got to be 180, 185 in there. Got the abs still. Woo.
Look at that. You're looking good right there. I'm like, damn, he's a junior right there.
Still had my hair. And my best friend, that guy right there next to me is still my best friend, Brandon, too.
To this day.
To this day. He lives here in Arizona. Still my best friend.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. He's still ugly, too.
He's still ugly now.
Yeah, he's still ugly. Yep.
Well, I don't see the difference with the hair now. I mean, it still looks great, right? I mean,
Oh, now it's great. Yeah, it's good now. I mean, it went away for a while, but it came back
exactly.
for sure.
So
yes.
Your now senior year. So how many offers did you have? I know Texas Tech declined. They're like, fuck off. We don't want you, right?
Where's this? Let me get. I had one offer. One.
That's it.
That's it, man. So I went to Texas Tech football camp my junior and senior year in between there, and I was most outstanding camper. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to Texas Tech. It's 70 miles from where I grew up. They're going to offer me a scholarship. Played my senior year, all-state offense, all-state defense, first team, both sides. No offer. New Mexico, I took a visit, and Coach Franchione was like, hey, we want to offer you a scholarship. If you don't take it now, we might give it to somebody else. I was like, I'll commit. This is where I want to go to school. So it was pretty simple. And then later down, three weeks later, New Mexico State called and was like, hey, we want to come visit. I'm like, I've already committed to UNM. I don't see a reason why you should come down here and visit me. So yeah, it's a pretty simple decision. And it was a great one, by the way. It worked out really well. But it's the only offer I had. Unlike my son who had like 30 offers.
Yeah, I saw that. Notre Dame he signed with, huh?
Shit. Yeah, he's at Notre Dame. He went in the spring semester, so he's there right now.
Wow. And what's his position?
He plays free safety. Yeah, we're empty nesters right now. Wife and I we got our oldest one at Marquette. She's 23, first year law student. Mm-hmm. And then Riley is in Lawrence. She went to school until October, and she said it wasn't for her. So she's DJing at a club or a little night a bar there on the weekends. Whatever works, man. I got no problem with that. She wants to do her own thing. I didn't like school either. I had to go because of football, but she didn't have to do it. So she's doing her own thing, which I'm cool with. And then my son is there. That's a great picture. I like that picture.
Huh? You like that?
Look how young they are. Oh man, they're all so small back then. Well, Pamela's always tall, but they look so. Well, Candy now is a little bit taller than Pamela, and Riley's on the far. I guess it would be your left. She's 5'11" as well. They're big kids.
So, Brian, here's the thing. Like, obviously your daughters are attractive, right? Now, when they meet a guy.
I think they're good-looking kids, yes.
Yeah, they're very good-looking. Now, when they meet a guy, right, and they're like,
yes,
if you break my heart, my father is an NFL Hall of Famer, man.
Man, it's so different now because they don't have to call, you don't have, who has a home phone anymore anyway? So when I was a kid, I had to call, so-and-so's house, but hey, Mr. Johnson, can I please speak to Jenny? Or whatever, that doesn't happen anymore. Now they just go right to your daughter and talk to them because they have the Instagram, they got their cell phone. It's so much different now than when I was a kid. But boys don't care. They just and my youngest daughter Riley actually has a girlfriend. She likes girls. We have a lot in common. We both like women, so that's a good thing. Yeah, we have some good talks about that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. No big deal with that.
So, am I going the wrong way here? I feel like I'm not in center.
There I go. You want to center yourself because I'm going to have pictures.
I feel like I'm looking weird here. Okay, I'm better now.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're perfect right there.
Much better.
Yeah, exactly. So now, what was I saying? Okay, so after when you had a great career in New Mexico, right? Did you feel like you had a great career in New Mexico?
Probably got as much out of it as I could have. I got a chance to be a football, not just a defensive player. I played receiver, I returned punts, returned kicks, played every special team. So I was a football player. They have the athletes these days. They draft them as athletes. That's kind of what I was in college, and I definitely got the most out of my opportunity there. That's for sure.
Now, did you always want to be a defensive player, like as far as a safety?
I didn't really care, honestly. I know. Here's my outlook on that. As a defensive player, you decide how good you're going to be because you don't have to rely on someone to get you the ball, someone to call your number to throw you the ball or hand you the ball. You dictate how well you do, if that makes sense. You make the plays because the opportunity is presented to you. You have to take advantage of everyone you get. So I did like that part of it because I could dictate how well I did every game.
Now, where were you at the time, April 2000, when they called your
Yeah.
name in the draft?
I was in Albuquerque with my family and friends from my hometown. Just, it's crazy, man. Right when the NFL season was over, Mel Kiper had me pegged at number 9 to the Bears. Right away, had me pegged at number 9 to the Bears. And I took my visit there. I took my visit to the Jets. I think I went to Green Bay as well, and I went one other place. But yeah, I mean, we knew the thing that helped me was when Pittsburgh drafted Plexico Burress. I knew I was going to go to Chicago right after they drafted him because he was high on the Bears list as well. I found out afterwards.
Wow. Now, in that class, the 2000 draft class, we know Tom Brady was 199, but
Yeah.
you're the Hall of Famer legitimately. Brady's not in yet, but he's going to be in. But you,
Yeah, obviously he will
right?
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you never know with the way they vote. Who knows?
Oh,
He better be. He could probably go in. He could have went in there after he retired.
But you know that 2000 class, it's just you and him.
I know, and we had some. Yeah, well, he is. We had some good players in that draft, and probably not the two guys you thought that would be in because I was questionable what position I would play. When I got to the NFL, I played safety in college and moving to linebacker, and then him being drafted as late as he was and not slated to play, right away. And then Drew gets hurt, and he goes in there, and look what happens. But yeah, it's weird how things work out. Sometimes it's not always the guys you think that are going to be great that turn out being that way.
But now here's the thing. How did they treat you as a rookie, right? Obviously, you came in the second game of the season in 2000, right, against Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And right there.
Barry got hurt, yep.
Now, but give me your preparation. What are you doing during those weeks? Like, the first game, you're not starting, right? You're like, all right. I mean, what are you doing on the side?
So I was our third down linebacker. I was the nickel Mike, the first game of the season and versus Tampa, and then Barry gets hurt. And here's what's messed up is I didn't play Mike, regular Mike. I played Sam. I was backing up Roosevelt, and then Barry gets hurt, and Greg Bosch goes, "Go play Mike." I was like, "Greg, I don't know what to do." He goes, "Just run to the football. We'll figure it out later." And run to the football worked for a few games there until I figured out what I was doing. But yeah, I played every special team though. Up until I was a starter, I was on all 4 special teams. Third down, I was in there as well. So I was busy. I was into the games. I got beat out in training camp by Rosie at Sam because I stunk at Sam. I was the worst. I need space. I'm a space guy. I can't be hemmed up in a little area. I'm an athletic guy. I need to run. So they figured it out, threw me at Mike, and then look what happened after that.
Oh man, look what happened exactly.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Good things. Good things.
Did you when you played? I talked to Pepper Johnson. He's really specific, right?
Oh yeah, Pepper Johnson's good.
Yeah, and he told me he's like the middle linebacker is the fucking general on the field for defense. You know what I mean? Were you that guy?
Yes. So early on, I was not. I didn't because I wasn't sure what was going on all the time. I got thrown in there. I didn't know the ins and outs of defenses. In my second and third year, though, yeah, from second year on, I knew exactly what was happening every play, what everyone else was supposed to do on defense. And especially when Lovey got there, that defense was so simple. I mean, I knew exactly what shade a guy should have been in secondary, what their depth was. I knew exactly where everyone was supposed to be every single play, and it made it easy. All we had to do was run to the ball because the thinking part was out of the game. You just reacted and went to the football.
But it's the same thing in baseball because I played college baseball down in Florida, small school. I had a full ride scholarship.
Okay.
And I was a 400 hitter. And the thing is, people say, "How do you hit so good?" I'm like, "Just react.
Don't think."
Don't think.
I tell my son, I'm like, dude, if you're out there thinking, you're done. You're not going to make plays. But when the ball is snapped, if you're thinking, you're behind. You need to be a step ahead and just react. That's why I played my fast football. There were some times where I got confused early on in my career, but when I wasn't thinking, man, good shit happened.
Right? Wasn't it like you were asking yourself, "Damn, how did I get him? How did I get this guy?" Right?
It just happens, and it happens so damn. That's why the offenses do all that motioning shit before the play. You know that, right? You think it's so they can, it puts a little doubt in your head.
Right.
You're like, what's my alignment? What's my key or whatever? It gets you to think, and then it may slow you down a quarter of a second. That's all they need.
So as a middle linebacker, when you see how the offense lines up with the running backs, is that how you evaluate in football as far as a middle linebacker?
Well, it's whatever my key was. So I'm going to go just strictly off Lovey's defense. That's the one I remember the most.
Go ahead.
Whatever my key was. If there's a running back in the backfield, one back, he was my key. If there's two, depending on the coverage, if it was man coverage, the fullback was my key. If it's cover two, the tailback was my key. And if there's no backs, we just play, we clear the draw from the quarterback and then we play pass. But whatever my key was is what I was watching every play. And my key will take me to the football. It was just super simple. And I try and tell my son, I'm like, what's your key every play? If you know what your key is, the game's simple. You just follow your key or read your key and you go to the football.
Why do you think football players think too much? I mean, when it comes to like defense like that.
There's a lot of shit going on, man. Like I said, the pre-snap movement and all that stuff going around. And if you don't trust what your alignment, what your teammate is, or what, I think some guys don't trust what's going on around them, and that could be part of it. But when you trust what you're doing and trust your teammates, it makes it a simple game.
Did you, now, at Soldier Field, I even asked you when I met you at the Super Bowl, when it's fucking freezing, what do they do? Like, they step on your feet and shit? Like, what do they do? What do you guys do?
I mean, it's cold. You just know it's going to be cold playing there. There's a ton of heaters on the sideline, and it was never as bad as I mean, it got cold. Don't get me wrong, but when you're on the sideline, you're warm. And like you said, once my feet and hands got cold, I was fucking done. My feet, because you get stepped on every damn play, basically. Around the line of scrimmage, you're going to get stepped on a bunch. So it hurts like hell when your feet are frozen and they get stepped on too. You say you can't feel it, but you can damn sure feel it. So that was the worst thing. But yeah, you just nut up and playing it, man. You got to use it to your advantage if you can.
What's a perfect weather for football? Football weather, like you would say, this is perfect weather.
65 and sunny, a little breeze, like a little cloud cover. A little cloud cover, a little sun. Like a nice fall day in Chicago to me was perfect weather. I don't want too hot. I don't want too cold. Right in the middle is perfect.
When you were in Chicago, is that where you met your first wife?
No. She and I met when I was my sophomore, junior year in college is when she and I met.
Oh, okay. So then
yep.
You married her and you had the two daughters with her?
You're correct. Yeah. So we got married right after June, right before I reported to training camp. Got divorced 2 daughters later, 4 years later, and then so that was it. And I got remarried to my current wife in 2018.
Now, here's my question. All right, now your current wife is gorgeous. I saw her at the Super Bowl too.
I definitely outkicked my coverage. Yes, for sure.
Right. So now, here's my question. Look how stunning she is. Right.
That's a good picture of her.
There you go. So my question is this, right? Usually, when a guy goes on the second date and tells a beautiful woman like your wife that I'm going to marry her, the odds are 98.9% she's going to run away like Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
How the hell were you convincing?
Dude, right when I saw her, I was there for Greg Olson's bachelor party, one of my old teammates, and she was there for a friend's birthday party. And I saw her, and I was like, holy shit, who is that? And I she didn't see me. She was just wearing like a little white T-shirt, like a wife beater. And I was just like zoned in. And then luckily one of the guys in our group knew her. I was like, hey, who is that? Anyway, he filled me in. And then the next day we went to like a late lunch or whatever, late dinner. And I didn't want to not be with her. It was fun, and then we were on and off for the end of my career. We were on and off for a little while, and then I retired. We locked it down for good.
But did she ever say, "Well, you're a football player. You guys get girls everywhere. Why do you want me?" Did she ever tell you that? Like,
no, she never had that attitude. My biggest concern was how she dated a football player before. Like, do you date athletes? Because as an athlete, you don't want to start running around with girls who have a nice little list of current or former athletes that they've dated. So she definitely checked that box and did not date any. So that was a good thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she was a little skeptical. She knew and she knows what how that's supposed to work with professional athletes or the stigma or whatever behind it.
All right. Well, I look at you.
She's not dumb. I'll tell you what, she's not dumb. How about that?
She doesn't look dumb. When I saw her, I was like, she looks intelligent.
Yeah. Yeah, she's bossy and she's definitely not dumb.
So pretty much
she's good. She's good for me.
So she's the Tony Soprano in the family. She calls the shots. Don't you say?
I wouldn't say she calls the shots, but the day-to-day stuff she can handle around the house. Yeah, there you go. How about that?
All right. So pretty
she's
much.
I'm gonna pull a Sam Ross thing. She's not really the boss, but when she's not here, I'm the boss. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. All right.
How about that?
Yeah. Now look. Now your son Kennedy, that was from a different woman, right?
Yes. So my son Kennedy was born in 2005. Had him with a different woman. I was divorced, and I met a woman, his mother. Ended up there. Yes. What a good picture there. You got some good stuff, man.
I'm
I don't look
prepared,
very
baby.
good, but he
I'm
looks.
prepared like
That
you.
was the first game of his junior year. Dude had a touchdown that game, caused fumble. But anyway, had a couple big hits too.
And Brian, you look good too. There, look at the. You're still flat the stomach. You're fine.
So my number one goal when I retired, Eddie, was not get fat, and so far I've accomplished that. I
Oh
may
no,
have.
yeah.
I fluctuate pretty good, but no fatness yet. Anyway, yeah. So Kennedy was born in '05. Had a little stint with his mother. Got full custody of him in 2000 and I want to say 14 or 15. So he came to Arizona. Was in and out of court pretty much since the day he was born with his mother, fighting, going back and forth. Ended up getting full custody, and he lived here, graduated high school here, and now he's at Notre Dame.
Well, Brian, that story is crazy. What happened to her, like with that guy, right? I mean, she said, according to her, he says he grabbed her gun out of the purse and he shot himself. And you're like, yo, hold on a minute, who would do that?
Yeah, it's a weird situation. It's sad. Obviously, a guy lost his life. Kennedy was actually here. It was Christmas, and Kennedy was down here visiting. And I get a call. Kennedy was like, my stepdad died. I go, what? And anyway, we got into the thing, and it ended up he committed suicide. Under some weird circumstances in her house on I want to say New Year's or Christmas, somewhere around there. And then I filed for an emergency motion to get Kennedy full custody. Fought it for a year and a half, but they gave me temporary custody until we were through with court. And then the judge ended up awarding me full custody. She didn't show up to court, so it was pretty simple. Just go through the process and do all the stuff that just pretty much follow what the judge says to do, and good things happen. That's what I figured out with the court process. If you do what the judge says, good things happen.
Does he still talk to her right now, Kennedy?
For sure, that's his mother, 100%. Yeah,
No,
and I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
No, he has a good relationship with his mom, and he should. And he's back at ND. She's in Chicago, so they're close. But yeah, I mean that is what it is. That's their situation. If he asks questions, I'll definitely give him my 2 cents if he wants it. If not, I don't try and chirp in.
When did you you had a stepfather that came in and you called
Yeah,
in
my
the Hall
dad,
of Fame
Troy.
speech? His name is
There's my
Troy
dad.
right there.
Yeah, my dad passed away in October, man.
This past October?
This past October,
Oh,
he passed
man, I'm
away,
so
man.
sorry. I
Yeah,
didn't even know.
it sucks. That's a bad picture because he was trying not to cry in that picture. We made fun of him for a long time.
Yeah, but you know what? That Hall of Fame speech, I'll tell you one thing, man. I was intrigued with your vulnerability because, you're one of those big football players, you coming out of that tunnel and you're like, I'm going to fuck people up today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's great to see your vulnerability. And I was like, wow, man, Brian is human, man.
Oh, for sure. My stepdad, he came into our lives, I want to say when I was in ninth grade or so, and him and my mom got married. They didn't stay married. They got divorced. I think after my senior year in college, he got divorced. But he's my dad. I consider Troy my dad. I call him dad. Yeah, he was awesome, man. You talk about my mom busted her ass, obviously. So did my dad. I mean, he was up. Where I grew up, you either work or you don't make it. That's what it comes down to. And everybody worked in the oil field down there, him no different. Up at 5 every day, home at 5:30. It's just that's how it went down there. People busted their ass to make a living, but yeah, it's been tough. It was tough to lose him, man. It was a bad deal. But he was awesome. He had such a big influence on myself, my brother, in our just work ethic, along with our mother as well.
How old were you when he came into your life?
So 8th grade, 13. Does that make sense? I want to say so 13, 12 or 13, right before I got to my teenage years, which as a teenage boy, you need. Now, my mom would definitely lay the smack down. She was not scared to beat our ass. But my dad was really not scared to beat our ass when we messed up. So we had some discipline at home.
Now, your biological dad, he was never there for you?
So I got no issues with my dad. So they got divorced, like I said, when I was 6 or 7. He stayed in Washington. I saw him my 7th grade year. I saw him my sophomore year in college, and I saw him again. He came to one of my games in Chicago. And once I got drafted there, I saw him a couple times. And he passed away in 2004, motorcycle wreck. Man, he flipped his motorcycle. And where we live, Washington, where they all live, it's farmland. So everyone rides motorcycles. But he had a dirt bike. He hit a railroad track and he flipped and he ended up being in a coma for 6 months and he passed away from his injuries. But I got no. I mean, he had people make decisions for certain reasons, and I've forgiven him. I got no problem. You know, I turned out okay. Things went good in my life, and hopefully he enjoyed his life as well. He was he created us 3 kids, so he did something right in my opinion. But yeah, just a weird deal.
Yeah, but Brian, it's the same thing with me. You know, like my father left me when I was 4, right? I don't play the
Yeah,
victim
I mean,
card.
so you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't play the victim card like, oh, well, I became a criminal because of that. That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's
You made
bullshit,
that choice, man.
You choose to do what you want to do. Yeah, you don't.
Exactly.
It's not because you didn't have a mom or dad. I understand it. It's a lot easier when you have 2 parents in the household. I 100% agree with that. But it's still a decision you choose to do. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. Choose what's right.
Right. Now, when okay, so when you met
Another good
her,
picture.
oh, I
Damn.
like that.
Yeah.
Am I good or what, Brian?
Yeah,
I'm studying the
she looks-
playbook, baby. I'm studying the playbook.
You're making me realize how good she really is, man.
Well, listen, you should be thinking, I can't wait till tomorrow. She gets better looking every day. Come on now.
She does. Shit. Man, she's hot.
You gotta call the fire department to cool her off. All right, but anyway.
Yeah.
So now, but when you told her, like, you know, you want to be with her, and you told her, listen, I also have 3 kids. Did she accept that right away? Because whether it's a man or a woman, and they say, well, kids, I don't know about
3,
that.
it's a lot.
Right.
Yeah, you got an ex-wife and
Right.
another mama and stuff.
Right.
She was unbelievable. So I never try to hide my kids from anyone that I want to spend time with, because if it does turn into something, back in the day when I was single, you don't want to spring that on. But she was awesome. She met them. Gosh, so we started dating in probably January or February. I think she met the kids in May, maybe somewhere in there. So she knew right away. It was great. She's been a great stepmom. Her and my daughters get along great. My son, like, she's the get shit done person. When they need something done, guess who they call? Jennifer. You know, she gets stuff done. They know they can rely on her. She's amazing. They have a great. She doesn't want to be their mother. If they want help, she'll be there for them. But she just wants to be there and be their friend, and that's what she's done. She's amazing in that. She does great at her role. She has a lot of information for me about what I should do in certain situations, but I need it sometimes. I always need that extra voice, kind of help me choose the right direction, I guess.
Well, it's a friendly reminder. You know, we all need.
Yeah, mother help her in the front seat. You know, seen the Instagram commercials? We got to help her in the front seat when there's a person pulling out 3 miles ahead of you, and she's like, "Babe, slow down." That's my little helper in the front seat right there. She's definitely. If there's a car 14 miles ahead of me hitting its brake lights, babe, slow down. They're hitting their brakes up there. I know they're 100 miles ahead of you, but you need to start slowing down. That's her.
She's got great instincts then. She's aware.
Yeah, that's what I'll call it. Yeah, because I didn't see the brake lights that were right in front of me. So I needed her to start screaming, "Babe, slow down!" We argue, but we get into it all the time in the car about that.
But you know,
she's my little helper.
But the thing is, like, with your wife's, when I saw her eyes, right? I mean, that's the spotlight. I mean, beautiful eyes, right?
Yeah,
but I feel like
sure.
your 2 daughters, when they met her for the first time, this is my gut instinct, they fell in love with her right away.
Well, no? I wouldn't say right away. They definitely. Okay. I'm their dad. They don't. You know, I'm their dad, and they don't want. My daughters are tough too. You know, Jennifer's tough. They're tough as well. They're They have a lot of questions. They want to know people's intentions. So it may have been a little bumpy at first, but once they realized that, you know, I loved her and she's going to be around, it's been great. And there are some days where, you know, you go through these ups and downs, and that's like with anybody married with kids. That's the way it goes. But we've managed it pretty well over the last 8 years. Let me see, 2008 years. Holy shit.
Well, no, 2009 you met her.
2006, right in 2009, married in 2016.
Oh, wow. So there was a lot of years.
Damn, we've been married for 8 years. Damn. That's a long time for me.
Shit. God bless you. All right.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, what was the over and under? I mean, what was going on? What do you mean?
No. No. Well, I was hoping 40 or 50, and we're on our way. But, yeah, shoot, that's already, but time flies by, man. It seems like it yesterday. That picture seems like we took it yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
No facial hair in that picture. I was young.
Well, no. The facial hair works, man. This is the salt and pepper. The salt and pepper works.
We both got a little gray going. I like it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I
look like Santa Claus right here, look on the left side. But I'm not doing. Listen, I'm not doing shit, man.
Who cares?
This is me.
Who cares?
That's how it is, right?
Same here.
Now, what was it like playing for Lovie Smith? Was he the type of guy during the week he will fucking yell at you guys, and then when the Sunday comes, he's like, "All right, just play."
No, he was unbelievable. Right. So this is, I'll tell you. So when Lovie got mad at us, here's the he said these 4 words at halftime of the Detroit game in 2010: crap, crud, dang, and darn. All in like back to. I was like, holy fucking shit, we are in trouble because he never cursed. He
Mm-hmm.
never hardly raised his voice. When you made you like you didn't want to disappoint Lovey, if that makes sense. You did not. He's like your dad. You didn't want to disappoint him. He's such a good human being. But when he said those words at halftime, I was like, oh shit, we better. Second half they had like 20 yards offense. They didn't do shit in the second half. We beat them. But he knew how to get us motivated and get the most out of us. And plus, just a smart football guy. You know, he hired great coaches. He's no matter what anyone was, he ran our defense. You know, he was the guy who ran the defense the whole time he was there. It was his defense. It was his baby, and that cover two, man, it worked.
Now, what about this guy that you really
Bullet
think?
Bob,
Yeah.
that's my guy. So Bob was my linebacker coach for 9 years that Lovey was there. Man, I'll tell you what, I love that dude. He's taught me so much. He's the reason that I dove in to like the mental part of the game so much because like there was before he got there, I knew what I was doing, but once he got there and taught me the ins and outs and alignments and just knowing the intricacies of what everyone else was supposed to do, football was easy. I mean, it was just play what you see. There was no thinking on my part. It was just flying to the football, running full speed every play, and having fun. And that the most fun I had was when I did not think. I just went to it. And our whole defense was the same way. You know, in Lovey's defense, there was no thinking, unless maybe the front guys a little bit because they're a little slower than the rest of us on the defense. Maybe they thought a little bit more than they should. But in the back end, we flew. But Bullet Bob, that's my dude. We got into it a bunch. We'd motherfuck each other on the sideline sometimes. I'd come off and he'd say something I didn't like. He'd cuss at me. I'd cuss back at him. 2 seconds later, we're son and dad again. It was fine. But man, what a stud. I still talk to Coach Babbage. Retired 2 years ago from Buffalo and lives in South Carolina now.
Wow, that's amazing. Like how you guys like scream at each other, but then you guys are still best friends, man.
Eddie, I never seen the shit I said. My rookie year, we had a D lineman talking to our D coordinator, Greg Blosh, who I have a ton of respect for, and he said, "Motherfucker," he goes, "Fuck you, Greg," and Greg said it back. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is not good. Something's gonna happen here." And then 30 minutes later, they're high five, and I was like, what is going on here?" Such a different dynamic in the NFL because these players are making more than their coaches. Obviously, most of them are, and they're going to tell you what they think. And it took me a long time to get to the level where I trusted myself that if I thought I was right, I could fire back. You know, I would never. I say one guy, I would never say anything to Lovey. Not that I didn't respect Bob as much, but Bob and I's relationship was different than Lovey's in my relationship because Lovey doesn't cuss. Lovey, he'll tell you something, you're like, yes, sir. You know, Bob would tell you something, you could kind of like have an argument with him because he was poking you to have an argument. He wanted it out of you just to get a rise.
Right, right. Wow. It's
Fun, man.
amazing. It's amazing how like, you got that connection with Bob and what did he tell you that what was the one sentence that he told you and then your brain said, "Uh-huh, I get it now."
This dude challenged me every single day. Every day. He was like, I don't care how good you were before I got here or how great you think you are. These are your numbers. Like he would bring these numbers in like my stats and be like, hey, this is what you got right now. This is what you should have. It's amazing that how he challenged me not just me, Lance, our whole linebacker room, every single day to get better because we were both all pro. We were both pro bowlers, all that bullshit. He didn't care. It was like every year was a new year. He challenged us every single year to get better. Our walkthroughs were amazing because they would try and dick us every day, try and make us screw up in our walkthroughs. It was just fun, man. Beyond everything, the thing I took away from him is football was fun when I was playing for him. I mean, there were some challenging days and we got into it, but I had a blast playing for him.
Now, were there some coaches that you were like, you didn't have eye to eye?
Yeah, there's some different. You just don't see eye to eye on certain things, like you said, and maybe you don't like their strategy or the way they're doing things, or the way they're coaching you or the other players around you. Each player has to be coached differently. I do agree with that, and maybe sometimes I just didn't agree with the way that some coaches coached our group or some guys around us.
So I'm gonna explain to you in baseball. As a batting instructor, when when a ball plays with a batting instructor is just a guy that you connect with. That's all it is. Because these guys are in the
Really,
big leagues for a reason. It's a connection.
yeah,
It's like,
they're good.
hey, I like this guy. You know what I mean? One simple thing, hey, keep that shoulder in. or you're flying open, like simple things
Just a
like that.
positive voice, right?
Right, exactly.
Reinforcement.
Yeah, exactly. It's a positive voice, right? What do these guys tell you? Like, give me an example. Like, what do they say? Hey, Brian, I saw that missed tackle. Why? Like, do they tell you
No.
shit like that? No?
During the game, so Bob was pretty good. During the game, there was not a lot of that. And so my mentality during the game or practice is whatever happened on the last play is over. It doesn't matter. It cannot affect my mindset or my ability on the next play. Because whether I had a pick, a sack, a missed tackle, a missed interception, or I just completely fucked up my assignment, it cannot affect my play on the next play, if that makes sense. So it's like the next play mentality is what I tried to use for football. So whatever happened on the last play, don't give a shit. The next play is all I'm worried about. And Bob understood that about me. But when we came to the sideline after the series, he'd be like, hey, what happened here? And I said, well, the guard pulled, so I ran through. And then, and he'd be like, well, I saw what I saw. I go, well, look at the camera. I look at the pictures, and we look at the pictures, and we agree, we talk. You don't have to tell, most of the time, you don't have to tell pros they fuck up. They know right away when they do it, So we get to the sideline like Bob on play number 4. I opened up the wrong way on cover 2. That's why the guy was, there's a big seam back there, whatever it may be. Or on, that 3rd and 1, I missed my gap. So just anything, because right away when you mess up. Now, if something goes on in front of you where your gap gets screwed up, this and that, you can't control that. But you know exactly when you screw up. So you don't need to be told. But it is good to talk about.
Brian, did it ever happen that you wanted to fuck up a teammate bad, like on the sideline? Like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Are you kidding me?
No, yes and no. How about that? Because there's mistakes that are made. You're like, what are you doing? Like, there's checks in the game that we all practice during the week. And if someone doesn't get it, you're like, dude, what are you doing, man? We practice this all damn week long. And then we get to the game and you shit the bed. When that happens, because if you have 10 guys playing a call and one guy's wrong, you're all wrong. It doesn't matter because you can't have 10 guys doing one thing and one guy doing something else because it's not good. But if you're all 11 playing the wrong defense, you're all right. I know that much. I figured that out real quick. As long as you communicated to everybody what the call was or what you thought it was, and you're on the same page, you can all play that and be wrong. I'll take the heat for it in the meeting, whatever. I made the wrong call, but we all played the same call, so it doesn't matter. But there's some times on the sideline I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I checked it 3 times and you didn't get it, and now you're saying you didn't hear me. On the film, you can see me pointing to the guy, telling him what the call was. So there's some of that, but it's still communication. It's so loud at Soldier Field. On 3rd down on defense, that's when it's allowed. So that's when you do your most communications on 3rd down. So sometimes it happens, man. I'm sure there were some guys who wanted to beat my ass too on the sideline.
Right.
100%. So it's a two-way street.
But Brian, did they ever talk shit on the opposing side? Did you ever say, hey, I'm going to fuck you up, you see? Did that ever happen?
There's no time, man. For me, obviously there was a bunch of going back and forth. But so for me, the snap's over. The tackle's made, whatever happens. I'm immediately looking to the sideline for personnel for the next play. So I'm trying to get the personnel. I'm listening to Bob in my helmet tell me what the call is, trying to get everyone in the huddle. So then we get guys in the huddle, and I'm like, all right, over cover 2, ready, break. So we break. Lance, what was the call, Lack? Or what was the call? Charles, Lack, what's the call? Pep, what was the call? I'm like, fuck, I just told you guys the call in the huddle. And I got 4 guys asking me what the call was after we break the huddle. So I'm like a babysitter out there trying to make sure everyone's getting the right call. After I give it to them in the huddle, I got 3 or 4 guys after every play asking me what the call was. So good times.
Oh, my God. And you know what's my favorite thing, too? It's called Talk Shit Thursdays at the facility, right? What do you guys do for 15 to 20 minutes? That's what I call it. In your Hall of Fame speech, it was funny. I call it, you said it differently, but it was like, you just rag on each other for like 20 minutes.
This was every day, Eddie.
Right?
This was every day. So every Wednesday and Thursday, we would go eat in our video director, Dean's office, me, Owen, Garza, Patrick, Manley. Maynard would come in there sometimes, our punter. And we just sit there and talk shit for 15, 20 minutes. Nothing about football. We just rag on each other while we eat lunch, which was, every day you got to eat lunch. And then we'd split up and go out to practice. But it was fun, man. Like, if people had people in town, they'd bring them in there and eat lunch with us and just hang out for those 20 or 30 minutes. It was nice because we had a good, there are some dudes on that team who really helped me, like, see what leaders are supposed to be, if that makes sense. They just, there's sometimes you got to be a dick. There's sometimes you got to be a buddy and a friend.
Right.
So I saw that really quickly with some guys on that team.
But, when you guys talk shit and rag on each other, I love that. I think that's a best friend relationship.
Got to do it.
You guys are together. You are like
Yep.
a family, man. Out of 6 months or 7 months out of the year, you guys are family, man. You're hanging out every day.
Every damn day. You see the same guys every day for 7 months, and you get that month off and you go back. But yeah, it was fun. You need to have that. And then, sometimes you talk a little shit in practice. When we did get to compete against the offense, when we do good versus good, we would talk some shit too. Training camp was always fun because I would every day, Olin Kreutz, man. That's why I played against the best center in the NFL for 11, 12 years. And it definitely made me a better football player.
You know what's crazy at the facility when it comes to especially in camp, it's like, you see guys like, wait a minute, he was just here yesterday. Where the fuck's he's at today? Like he got
I know,
cut.
man.
Is that crazy?
It's weird. It is weird, and especially my first couple of years, I was like, "Hey, what happened to?" We'd have a linebacker that was there, and the next day, I'm like, "What the fuck?" And Rosie was like, "They cut him." I'm like, "What? Already?" I just didn't understand how real it was. With like, if you fuck up or do something they don't like, they will get rid of you. It's a numbers game, or even if you're the low man on the totem pole, they will cut you. It's a cutthroat business. It's damn sure. I learned it was a business really, really quick.
Brian, have you ever experienced out of the 13 years, a first rounder coming on and then he gets cut too? Did that ever happen?
So my second year, we cut our guy who we drafted in the second round the year before. So his second year, he was a second round draft pick, Russell Davis, and we cut him. Russell ended up playing for like 11 years. I think he won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. After we cut him, he won and did really well. But something about him they didn't like, I guess, at that time, and they cut him his second year, and he went on to do great things somewhere else. Some first rounders who didn't stick around long. David Terrell was probably a 3-year guy at the Bears. Cedric Benson might have played 3 years at the Bears. So most of the first round guys that drafted while we're there didn't stick around. Mark Colombo didn't stay long. Rex didn't end up there. I mean, I was one of the few guys who was a first round draft pick who actually played my whole career there.
Yeah.
I mean, Charles Tillman, second round. Lance Briggs, third round. Mike Brown, second round, but Mike played for Kansas City at the end of his career. It's hard to do, man.
Oh, I mean, you don't really see it nowadays, right? I mean, look, even Tom Brady, you
For
would think
agents,
this guy is going to be forever
I
a
know.
New England Patriot,
Yep.
and the next thing you know, goes to Tampa and wins it with them.
So crazy, weird.
How was Ron Rivera as a coach, as a defensive
Chico, big fan. So you talk about a player's coach, and Ron played for what 8, 9, 10 years for the Bears back in the day. And so it's funny. Ron coached me at the Pro Bowl when he was with the Eagles. My first couple of years in the league, they coached the Pro Bowl because they always lost the AFC Championship game, so they got to coach the Pro Bowl. So I knew Chico heading into before they hired him in 2004. Lovey hired him, and I only played for him for 3 years in Chicago because they didn't renew his contract after the Super Bowl, which I was shocked. But he was you talk about a guy that could really relate to players and talk on your level. And make you see what he's seeing. Ron was great at that. He had a great demeanor, still does. I still talk to him to this day, but I really enjoyed playing for him. He was awesome.
Brian, when is the off season for you guys? Like, when can you really rest? Like, when do you stop lifting weights for a little bit? When is that?
Never. I mean,
Never.
and so, my mindset was, if I'm not working out, someone else is going to get better than me. So every day that I do not work out or that I am not getting better, someone's going to pass me. So there's no off season. There's no time off. Every season, when you take 2 weeks off because your body needs to heal. And I hated doing it, but Rusty was like, Brian, you got to do it. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to gain 20 pounds. I'm going to be slow and fat. It's going to be hard to get back in shape. And I always managed to get back in shape in 2 weeks. But after those 2 weeks, you're ready. Your body's, semi-healed. But you got to take a little bit of time just because the season's so long. And no one's healthy after week 1 if you play an actual position besides quarterback or kicker. But yeah, so there's really no time off. I mean, you may take a week here or there just to rest your body, but you're right back at it.
All right, so here, give me an example, right? On a Sunday, long day, right? Let's say you go to overtime, you guys are busting your ass. You get the win, okay?
Yep.
That Monday, what are you doing the next day?
So usually we usually off, but Lovey would give us victory Monday, you take the day off, but you're not really off. I would go even on so Tuesday is a day off no matter what. I would go into the facility on Monday, work out, watch film, watch the game before that we just played, get in the cold tub, all that stuff. Same thing on Tuesday, go into the facility, work out, cold tub, massage, run body right. And then Wednesday, you're back at it for the game plan for the next week. You're lifting on Wednesday, you're practicing. I was there from 6:30 to 5 on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Friday, same thing, going early left, and you're done by 12:30 or 1. And then Saturday is a travel day or go downtown for the game.
Well, you guys are in the center of the nation, so it's not like I heard that if you're an East Coast team, you guys travel Friday.
The double day before, right? Sometimes when they go out to the west, they do that, which makes sense. But we were lucky, man. Our division games, we could literally fly there Saturday night, and if our game was at noon the next day, we could be home by 5 on Sunday, watching the Sunday night game. Yeah, it was great. I mean, we could catch the tail end of the second games, and then definitely watch the Sunday night game. So it was great. We had a division game on the road.
Well, you know what? So them playing for Chicago, that's a great advantage right there. I mean,
hell yeah, man!
Right? You're in the center of the nation.
All your division games are an hour away, and the games that I didn't like was going out the Monday night games or Sunday night games out west because you're playing. You're getting on a plane at 12 o'clock their time, which is 2 o'clock your time. You're getting home at 5 in the morning. So you give me a 12 o'clock game on Sunday every weekend, I would be happy as hell.
Yeah, absolutely. Now
you're home that night.
Yeah, and you can see your family, you can hang out with them and shit. Right?
Yes, recover. More importantly, you got more time to recover.
Brian, let me ask you this: when you were single, right? Like, did girls recognize you? They're like, "Oh my God, you're Brian Urlacher." Was it like that?
Chicago was Chicago was crazy, man. I didn't go out a lot, but when I did, obviously there was a lot of women there. So and I was pretty popular there for a while when I played. So it was, I did get recognized. Eddie, to answer your question, yes.
Well, of course. Any billboards of you in Chicago?
There are some right now for the Restore Hair. There's a few right now on the freeway. You'll see.
Wait, for the hair restoration.
The hair restoration. You can't go any direction from the airport without seeing a billboard. The guy Jordan's done a really good job. The guy who owns the company of putting these billboards in strategic places, and the people. It's been 7 years now. People are like, "What the fuck, dude? We've seen so many billboards of this guy. They're getting tired of it."
Wait, so you're telling me, Brian, there's more billboards of you right now with the hair restoration than the fucking actual you as a player?
Oh, 100%, 1,000%. Yeah, when I played, I don't remember seeing any billboards of me when I played. Or if I did, I don't remember. But yeah, all I can think of now is all the ones for Restore. There's a million of them, and I get reminded of that all the time.
So now, what made you do that, Brian? I mean, obviously you were bald your whole career, right? We know it. You still look good. You're still good looking.
Good with it,
right? Yeah,
I was good. I was good being bald. But so my buddy got the procedure done, and he was bald. He wasn't all the way bald. He was holding on. You know the guys that hold on, and maybe they shouldn't.
Right.
So he was like, "Oh man, look at that! Jeez, look. Do you see the peaks right there? You see right there where it was. I got
an excellent job. I'm seeing myself. I can't even tell.
It's crazy. So I never thought I would give a shit, honestly. But then my buddy got done. I was like, "Damn, dude, you look for you look pretty good." So he's like, "Man, it was an easy process." So, and here's the kicker for me: if I got it done and I didn't like the way I looked, I could still shave my head, and you would never know that I had the procedure done because there's no scars, there's no.
Right.
You would never know. So I was like, you know what? If I don't like the way I look with hair, if my kids are like, "What the hell, Dad?" Then I'll just keep shaving it. But I liked it, so I signed on with the company, and it's great. It's been great, man. I get a lot of compliments on my hair these days.
Well, you know what's crazy? It's like it just looks natural. You know, there's some people that got some shit, man.
I know.
Like,
well, so the method they do, they take that one hair at a time from where you have a bunch of hair, which is usually in the back, and they poke little holes in your head and they put them in there and it grows. And once they put the hair in, it won't fall out. You may go bald somewhere else, just from whatever genetics or whatever, but wherever they put the hair in during the procedure, that hair will not fall out.
So, Brian, I'm assuming this. You had to literally grow your hair out, right, on the sides and the back, right? That's what you had to do to get the procedure done?
No, they just did it.
So while you were bald right there, they took the hair out.
Yeah, so they take the follicle. They don't need much hair. They can go in and get the follicle out, and then they just plant it, where they punch the holes. It's crazy. The procedure is nuts. I was shocked at how they do it, and I was really shocked by the results.
But like when we were growing up, when you see guys, I mean, it's called
plugs,
right? Right.
Plugs.
That looked horrible, man.
Those were not good. Yeah, that's why I was like, look, Jordan, my shit looks like that. I don't want to get it done. He's like, look, it's nothing like that anymore. The whole procedure's changed, and I was like, and obviously, it's nothing like that.
So now, you had hair in the center, right? That's what I'm looking at right now, or it was just receding, right?
Yeah, I had the divots, the big divots on the side.
Okay, so you had the Marine Corps type of shit right here, right?
For sure, yeah.
Right. So they transplanted this part right here. What I'm looking at your picture right now. But you have hair in the back in the crown, right?
The crown never went bald on me, thank goodness. And I think they put some in the crown as well just to make sure. But they put it, and they did mine really good because I'm the spokesman, so they want me to look real nice with my full head of hair. But yeah, they definitely hammered the hairline and where those divots are in the front there, and a little bit in my crown, I think.
Well, so usually when people do plastic surgery, this is not considered plastic surgery. I guess it's
Yeah,
non-invasive, right?
just a procedure, just a
Right. It's
procedure.
a
Yeah, I was
procedure,
awake the
right?
whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, do you feel like, because people get addicted, they're like, oh, I want more, I want more. Do you feel like you
Yeah.
have that feel too?
Fuck no. I was
No.
happy. I got it done once, and that was it. I mean, I knew it was going to be a one and done procedure, and if I liked it, great. If not, I could keep shaving my head, and that was it. I don't
Oh,
want to get
all
anything
right,
else.
all right. So you
Yeah,
weren't like, oh, I want more thicker. I want, because there are crazy motherfuckers out there. They're like, I want more.
I have a couple buddies who've gone multiple, 3, 4, 5 times to get it done. The problem is you run out of donor hair. If you don't have enough hair in the back to kind of remove and put in the spots where you're bald, it doesn't matter. So you got
Yeah.
to
So
have enough hair.
yeah, my girlfriend was in Turkey
Oh,
this
they do a
past,
shit ton in Turkey. Yeah, they do a
and
lot
she
in
was
Turkey.
like, I come on the plane, I see all these guys with hair transplants, like the whole plane.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I think it's cheaper. I think they do it cheaper. I'm not sure about the quality. I have no idea.
right.
But I know they do a lot of procedures over there.
Who helped you prepare for your Hall of Fame speech?
So there was a guy that I talked to. Now I wrote it. Everything in there is me, but the presentation and his name was Arthur. God damn, I can't think of his. I don't remember his last name. When I worked at Fox for 1 year, he was our speech coach there, and he helped me write. He helped me with procedural stuff and all that good stuff. But I wrote everything in there. He just helped me, slow my ass down when I talk because I'm a fast talker,
When
and
your
just
nerves
kind
are
of
kicking in, man, you got a whole crowd in front of you, man.
Eddie, that was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done, man. It was horrible. Once I was done with that speech, I was like, oh, you can finally relax. You're in the Hall of Fame now. You're done with all your duties. Relax. Enjoy the week, whatever weekend we got left. But yeah. So Arthur really, I worked with him 2 or 3 hours a day, 3 days a week, trying to get that thing done and get it to the way I wanted, and get it in the time frame that they allotted us to give it as well.
But your outline was perfect. Started from the young age, talking
Yeah.
about your family, then talking about your teammates, then going back to your wife, to Jennifer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was just a great outline of how you did it.
I appreciate it. Was so hard because I left a lot of people out, man. That's what the shitty thing about it is. In the time frame that I had, I could have talked for half an hour because I could have named 40 more teammates, 40 more coaches that I didn't get to put in there because I just, it was the pecking order. That you got to get the people you got to get in, and it sucked. If you listen, I didn't mention any coaches besides Coach Babbage because I didn't feel like it was fair to mention one guy and not another guy because I could have had Lovey,
No.
Coach Blosh, Coach Quinones, Coach Faith, my high school coach, Rocky Long, Bronco Mendenhall, all these guys that I played for in college, high school, and NFL. So Coach Rivera, and it sucks I didn't get a chance to mention any of their names.
No, but Brian, you did the smart thing. Was this instinctively when you said, "Please stand
Stand
up"?
up.
Yeah.
So Arthur helped other people before me, obviously, do their speeches, and he goes, "Look, we're not gonna have time to get everyone. If you just say if you ever coach me or were a teammate of mine, please stand up and be recognized by everyone." So that was a good way of doing it. I think it was shitty because I would rather talk about every one of them, but I didn't get that opportunity because I didn't have enough time.
Oh, all right. Now, is there a time limit when you guys do the speech?
Yeah. They tell you got 15 minutes. Then you have to submit your speech, and they tell you, hey, that speech is actually 27 minutes. You need to cut it down. So I'm like, fuck. So if you'll see during my speech, I actually pulled out something from my pocket and started reading it because that was a segment about my teammates. I did not submit that to the Hall of Fame because I was going to do it without them knowing because I wanted to talk about a few of my teammates who had a big impact on my career. So I talked about Olin, Mike Brown, Dusty Dvorak. I think I talked about Lance, Charles, a few other guys. But that was not in my speech that I sent to the Hall of Fame because I didn't want them to say, oh, you're 21 minutes or whatever. And then I think my speech took 17 and a half. Ray, I think, talked for 40 minutes. So he was last, so he got the most time. But he wasn't too worried about his 15 minutes.
You should have done what Jimmy Valvano said. Yeah, you guys got the teleprompter telling me let's go. No.
Yeah, no. Well, that was a little different. That's Jimmy V. That's
Right,
a little different.
exactly.
But yeah, I wish I would have just, Charles Haley, I saw him on Friday of that week, and he goes, hey, when they tell you got 15 minutes, he goes, fuck them. Talk as long as you want to. It's your speech. You get to do it one time. Take as much time as you want there. I was like, dang, I appreciate that. So when I did go over a little bit, I didn't feel one bit bad.
Right.
Yeah, it was great advice.
Brian, how does it like? I know how the baseball Hall of Fame works. Now with football, like in baseball, they get the call in January, and then the inductions in July. How does it work in football? When do you guys get the phone call?
So they changed it now. I'm not sure how it is now, but when I was going in, so the Super Bowl is always in February, right? So the
Yeah.
night before Super Bowl, you go. They fly everyone who's a finalist in. You're in the same. You're in the same hotel room, and if they once they have the meeting, the media guys, all the experts who decide whether you're good enough to make it to the Hall of Fame or not. Once they have their meeting and decide that you make it, you're going to knock on your door. If David Baker knocks on your door, who was that at that time the I guess he was the president of the Hall of Fame. If he knocks on your door, you made it, and you open the door. There he is. Oh, big hug, blah blah. If they call you and say, "Hey, sorry, just didn't make it this year," disappointing. Luckily, we got the knock on the door that year, and then the next day is the Super Bowl, and they march you out at halftime for the Super Bowl, and then they introduce you this that and all that cool stuff. But yeah, now it's different. Now I think they find out a couple weeks before that. I remember because Zach Thomas called me when he got in because I've been a huge advocate for Zach to get in for 5 damn years. And he finally got in and he called me. He was like, "Hey," I go, "How the fuck you know you got in? He's 2 weeks away." He goes, "They changed the process." So it's different. I don't know how exactly it is, but I know it's different now than it was when I got in.
Now the ceremony is in Canton, right?
Ken, yep, that's where the Hall of Fame is.
And what month is that?
August, hot as hell.
So
So
they
you
do
know
it
they
just
always have
like
the
baseball then.
they always have the preseason Hall of Fame game. Usually two teams
Okay.
who have a player getting inducted will play in that Hall of Fame game.
Shittiest football field in the NFL.
So I played at Old Philly. My rookie year, we played at Philly Stadium when it was shit. That
Turf?
turf was so bad. Yeah, that turf. And all the old turf was terrible. It was not comfortable. And even the neutral, I don't like. I'll take grass every day. That's my favorite thing to play on. The shittiest stadium we played in was the Arizona Cardinal Stadium back in the day. I played there my second or third year. The locker room was as big as my bedroom. It was horrible. It was so small. We're all packed in there. It was 7,000 degrees outside. We're playing there in August in preseason. Hot as hell, man.
Which running back was really tough to fucking catch?
Ricky Williams was a badass. So Ricky was
Wow.
5'10", 235, 240, 4'4". I'm 6'4", so I had a hard time getting under Ricky. We had some good collisions. He had some good games against us too, but he was a pain in the ass. Adrian Peterson was great. He's in our division. He was great as well. But man, Ricky gave us a hard time when he was with the Dolphins and the Saints, both teams.
Biggest shit talker of the posing.
Sapp was always a yapper. I wasn't on the field with him, but I could see him fucking
Mhm.
with our linemen. I could see Olin talking to him because Olin would always talk back because he didn't give a shit. He was probably one of the T.O. was a yapper. Gosh, I'm trying to think. Most of the linemen, they'll yap a little bit amongst themselves, but like I said, I hardly ever did it because I didn't have any damn time. I always talk to the quarterbacks. I talked to Brett. I talked to Aaron. Not like shit talking, just yapping a little bit.
Brian, did you always have great hands? Like, was that like a gift that you had?
I did. I was very fortunate. I always had a football, a baseball in my hand when I was a kid. I was always basketball, something. So catching a football for me was always second nature. I never had an issue. That's how my daughter is as well. By the way, Riley catches every damn thing you throw at her. It's crazy. She catches everything. But she also, when she was younger, always had a ball, basketball or football in her hand, always playing catch, and that's how I was when I was a kid. So judging the football was never an issue for me. I was lucky.
So you had great hand-eye coordination then.
You could say that.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, except I can't hit a fucking baseball.
You
So
can't
maybe
hit
not
a
that good.
baseball?
I was not a great hitter. I made the All Stars and all that stuff when I was a kid. I could hit, but not to the level you would think I should hit. I was a better outfielder. I could run down anything, but I had a hard time hitting. It was weird.
Well, you're meant to play defense, and there it
That's
was.
it. That's why I played defense. Yeah, I could catch a football, but I couldn't hit a damn baseball.
Let me ask you this, Brian. Be honest with me. The Bears organization, when it comes to contracts, did you feel disrespected? I mean, I'm sure Briggs felt disrespected a little bit as far as the
Yeah.
contract offer. Like, how do they treat you? What do they say? Like, look, you made them so much money. Why they're like, well, Brian, what's their fucking excuse?
We had a bad GM. They hired the GM before my last year. They hired a guy named Phil Emery, and he fired Lovey. We were 10-6, and he fired Lovey. That's how stupid that
He
guy was.
fired 10 and
He fired
6.
Lovey 10-6, fired Lovey Smith 10-6. Didn't make the playoffs, but he fired him. Dick move. So I didn't want to go back anyway because I didn't want to play for a new coach anyway. So I can blame him, but in the end, it's the ownership for the Bears. If they step in and say, "Hey, we want him here. We drafted him here. He's been here for 13 years. Get him here." And I wasn't. It wasn't even about the money for me. I didn't care about the money. It was the way it was handled. The way they just talked down to me. In the media, he was just not bad mouthing me, but not. He was like, "Oh, maybe he's past his prime. He might be a first and second down linebacker now." It wasn't right for as long as I played there, and the way he handled the situation and the way the Bears handled it. You said the same thing about Briggs, Peanut. They all went somewhere else. Briggs was not brought back. Peanut went and played a year in Carolina. I understand players get old, and we get not what we once were. Look at the way the Steelers do things. Mm-hmm. If you know anything about football, watch the way the Steelers handle their older players. And I wish other teams around the NFL would take note of that, because the Steelers do it the right way. If you're a Steeler, you're a Steeler. Then you're not getting away. They're going to make sure you stay there. You may not be what you once were, but you're a Steeler, and it's a really classy organization the way they do things.
Well, hold on a minute. My guy that I interviewed was Greg Lloyd.
Ooh, Greg Lloyd's a badass.
Now, Greg Lloyd, he wasn't a career Steeler.
Did they draft him?
Yeah, got drafted by
They did, and they let him go. Well, I'm okay. I'm talking about Troy Polamalu. It was Heath Miller, the tight end. There's like 4 or 5 guys when I was playing that maybe played not maybe played too long, but they weren't as good as they were at one time. And the Steelers didn't let them go. They extended them, and they retired as Steelers. They didn't have a chance to go somewhere else, and it was handled the right way in house. Maybe the conversation was like, "Hey, you're not what you once were. We can't pay you that, but we want you on our team." Maybe the way it should be handled.
But they didn't even offer you that, right? They said, it's time to go.
No, I think there's a 1-year offer on the table for $1.5 million or whatever, but it wasn't even at that point. It's like why it took a lot to get to that point. The guy was like, "Hey, tell your agent to make us an offer." So we made him an offer, a 2-year deal, and then they came back with a 1-year, $1.5 million deal. Which, like I said, at that point, it wasn't even about the money. It was like, "Fuck you," we don't want you here. We fired your coach. We don't want you here either. So beat it.
Were you upset with the Bears organization?
There was some animosity for sure. I just didn't like, and like I said, the GM is the GM, but there's still ownership involved as well, because they have their hands on a lot of things that go on in that organization. The McCaskies do. So one of them could have stepped in and said, "Hey, no, we want him here. Let's do this. Let's keep him here." This never happened.
It's amazing how you're lovable. They love you. You're the superstar, and then at the end, goodbye.
Bye. It's a business, right, Eddie?
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
You find out the hard way. And at the end, you really find out that it's a business, because when they don't want you, when they can't use you, or when they think they have someone better, they just move on. That's just the way it is. There's no loyalty.
But you know what it is? As an athlete, your occupation, every year, someone's trying to take your spot.
Take your job. That's exactly right.
A regular job, they're not trying to take your spot. Just maintain it. Here you go. Like if you're a teacher or whatever, it's like, all right, here.
That's a good point.
Think about that,
that's why my mindset was always, I better be getting better. I didn't want someone taking my job. That's why I was always like, bust your ass, work out, get better. Because you realize, just spending some time in the NFL, you see it happen to your teammates, that if they don't think you are what you should be, they'll get rid of you.
Yeah, it is. What a cutthroat business. But you know what? I
think
it's in all sports, man. That's how it is.
It is not so. I mean, the NFL is worse because our contracts aren't guaranteed. So they don't give a shit. The money thing is not a big deal to them. Most guys aren't guaranteed. There are some now that are, but NBA, hockey, baseball, all guaranteed. So it's different for them.
I think the players' union in the NFL is weak.
The worst.
Very weak.
The worst, Eddie.
They treat you guys like shit, man. I hate the fact you guys. What people don't understand is that you guys bust your ass every fucking day. And if you get hurt, you got hurt. What do you think? The first reaction in your head, you're thinking, "Is my career over?" Right?
They're going to cut me, or they're going to cut me. Can I come back from this, or are they going to cut me? And then you don't have. When you retire, you think, "Oh, I'll have insurance the rest of my life. Not a big deal." And you don't think about it when you're playing, because you're playing. You got insurance, you're covered, whatever. Bullshit, man. They once your 5 years after you retire runs out, your insurance runs out. So these older players who played in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they have zero insurance, and they didn't make the money that the players are making now. So insurance is expensive. So once you're done after that 5 years, you're on your own, and that's when a lot of guys struggle, because they're not making the money they made when they played. So they have a hard time figuring out how to transition into paying for their own insurance. And it's I know baseball, and when they retire, they have insurance for life.
Yeah.
And most football players have the issues 45, 50 years old because they're older and their bodies are beat up, but they have no insurance unless they pay for it. It's shitty the way they treat us and the way they treat the guys who played for so long and no insurance. And that's the players union. That's their fault.
Right. So, Brian, I want to clarify this. When you retired in 2013, right? Was it 13?
Yep, 13. 12 was my last year.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
right
2012 was your final year. So you're saying you only have health insurance taken care
for
of
5 years.
5 years, and that's it.
And then in 2011, they made a new thing. There's the Gene Upshaw Fund that they put money in for you, or you put money in. You just get to spend your own money on your insurance. And whenever that runs out, then you start going into your own pocket again. So I think ours runs out in 2 years from now. So yeah, it's just weird stuff you have to think about. That you should never have to worry about playing in the NFL. You should have insurance for your life. That's what they should do.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially for the older guys, they should redact something where these guys all have insurance. The fucking NFL makes a lot of money, billions of dollars a year. They can afford to do something like that for these guys who didn't. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about older gentlemen who paved the way for what the game is right now.
Well, listen, Brian, you made a great point because one of the guys that I interviewed was Wesley Walker, and he got screwed, man.
Yep.
Screwed.
You say Welker or Walker?
Wesley Walker.
Walker. I don't know who Wesley Walker is.
Remember the New York Jets wide receiver, late 70s, 80s? He was like, he made their Ring of Honor, New York Jets.
Did he?
Wesley
I'm sorry.
Walker.
I'm not a huge Jets fan. Sorry.
No. It doesn't matter. I mean, listen, there's some names I might not know that you might mention, but it's no big deal.
Maybe.
I'm just saying, he's like, Eddie, you know what?
They get screwed.
Yeah, I'm 68 years old. It's hard for me to play with my grandkids, and it hurts me, man.
Yeah.
Like, oh, shit.
Yeah. And I don't have insurance.
Yeah.
It sucks. The insurance I have is because I pay for it, not because the NFL provides it for me. It sucks.
Brian, but what you do right now to make extra income is you do appearances, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah, most of the stuff is just appearances, autograph signing, stuff like that. A lot of stuff that the retired guys. Same stuff I did when I played, actually. Still appearances. It's still people. For some reason, people still want to hang out and see me in public for some reason.
Well, listen, when we met you, we were like, this guy is fucking hilarious. I mean, you know how to communicate. And what's great about you, you're a great listener. A lot of people don't have that skill, man. And go ahead.
I may listen, but I don't hear you. How's that?
Oh, all right. But you react truthfully, so I'm like,
there you go.
Truthfully.
Yeah. No, I can bullshit you pretty good too. But no, I like talking to people, man. I can talk football. I can talk. I like interacting with people that I like. How about that? If I don't like you, you will definitely know pretty quickly.
All right. So give me an example. If you don't like me, what would you do?
You're not going to get many. You're not going to get a lot of reaction from me. You may be talking, and you're just not going to get. You won't hear me say much. How about that? I'm
sure you have probably obsessive fans that are stupid. They don't know how to act in front of an NFL player or an athlete.
Well, that's different. Then I'm still polite. You can't be a dick because someone's excited to see you, right?
Right.
That's not the way you handle situations.
Trying to get too close to you, I'm like, slow down a little bit,
That's okay. Yeah, I get it. It's a once. They may not know when they get this opportunity again. So take advantage of it. You can. You may go a little overboard, but there are some times it gets a little, maybe a little too far. But it's just the way it goes sometimes.
So Brian, right now you don't lift weights anymore, right? You just ride your bike.
I do lift weights. I took 3 years off from lifting weights, and I started about a year and a half ago. Still riding my bike every day. Still. The weights takes 20 minutes, by the way, Eddie. It's a pretty quick workout. No heavy stuff, just tons of reps, and just trying to maintain a little bit of definition and not get fat. But the bike is where I don't get fat. Just ride that thing.
But hold on a minute. You do love your chocolates and your powdered donuts and all that shit, right?
Bro, I'm a food junkie. I do not eat good. I love sweets. I love chocolate, donuts, carbs. I love it all, man. I'm a junkie, but that's why I have to ride the bike so much, so I can eat like shit.
But you know what's crazy? One of the
trade-off.
Right. One of the ball players told me in baseball, is like, Eddie, you know why I had an 18-year career? I'm like, why? And you know why I never got hurt? I'm like, why? Because you can't pull fat. I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh, that's pretty good.
He says, you see all these lean guys?
Wrong.
You see all these lean guys? They get hurt right away. He's like,
that's a good point, man.
Yeah. So,
shit, that's funny. That's good.
So you could actually still eat your donuts. You're fine. If you could.
Oh, I'm not gonna stop. Don't worry, I will not stop, man. I enjoy my snacks. That's for damn sure.
Let me ask you this: where you grew up in New Mexico, the show Breaking Bad, was that near you guys where they shot it? Or
So that
no?
was in Albuquerque. So I went to school in Albuquerque, where it was. So we're 300 miles south of Albuquerque. That's where UNM is there. So I watched it. I watched it like 6 years ago. My daughter was like, "Dad, you have to watch it. Watch it." So I watched all 9 seasons in about 6 weeks. It was unbelievable. So
What a
great.
great show, right? Oh, holy
Great. Just
shit!
same way with Game of Thrones. I binge watched that as well.
Hmm.
It's great to watch on planes.
Yeah.
My daughter was like, "Dad, you got to watch it." I'm like, "All right, I'll watch it." So I watched it.
Now, how'd you get the gig on Entourage? Did Doug Ellen call you up? What happened?
Yeah, so I had a buddy of mine who was friends with Doug, and he was like, "Hey, we want to if Brian's available, we'd love to have him out here." I was like, "Fuck yeah, I love to go to LA and be on." I mean, at that in 2010, Entourage was the shit. That was the
Hmm.
show. Everyone wanted to be on there. All kinds of cameos from everybody. So, was not a hard decision to make right there.
Yeah. Well, how was the acting? I saw it was great. You and
Uh,
Turtle.
my
No.
acting's not great, but Turtle was great, man. Jerry Farrar, he was awesome. We had a good little scene there. I always felt like I was, they're so natural with it, and everything for me is like forced. I felt like it was, but Eric Conley, is it Eric Conley or
Yeah, Eric Conley.
E?
Yeah.
Is it
E.
Eric
Yeah.
Conley in real life? Yeah.
Hmm.
So he was directing that scene. He made me feel so comfortable, man. He was like, "Dude, you're doing a great job." So it's when they make you feel comfortable, it makes it
Yeah.
so much more
Exactly.
enjoyable as to making you feel like a dickhead and like you're not doing it right. He was like, "We'll do it one more time. You're doing great, man." So it made it so much easier for me and more enjoyable.
But did they let you improvise?
Yeah, I did a little bit. So I'd done a couple shows before. I did According to Jim back in 2001 with Jim Belushi.
Hmm.
So I did that. There was another one I did, but yeah, a little bit of improvisation, but not a ton. I was trying to say what's my line, memorize it, and then say it like I would say it.
Right. Well, exactly. I'm like, listen,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
listened
That's
well. I
it.
was like, all right, he executed. I saw the little
Yeah.
scene on YouTube. I was like, all right, there you have it.
Not too bad.
So now you love playing ping pong. When are you like the best in that?
What do you define the best? Like what circles are we talking about here, Eddie?
Okay, so I'm sure at the facility, right? You guys had a
The
ping pong
best.
table, right?
The best.
And
Yes.
it's like,
My household the best. Although my two youngest are pretty damn good. We have some great doubles matches out there in our game room. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if my game would travel like to the level of the Olympics or something like that, but in regular circles, my game's pretty good. We have some really good battles at my house.
and then you guys talk shit too.
A lot of shit. My son can't shut his mouth when we play ping pong. He hits a good shot, or I may start it sometimes, but he can't shut his mouth either. That's like the one time we all have the hall pass to talk shit to each other.
Brian, what made him select Notre Dame out of all the schools that he had an
Yeah,
option?
he had it narrowed down to Miami, Florida. Great school.
Hmm.
Took a visit there. Took a visit to TCU, and then Notre Dame was his three finals. And I really think you see what the degree you're going to get from that school, and what that can lead to for you in the future. And the head coach Marcus is a stud. I think
I
he really
like him.
related. Oh, he's awesome, man. I played with Marcus one year in Chicago. We drafted him in 2009. They only played 1 year, but man, just the way they do things there. And South Bend's not a great place to live. It's cold. All you have is Notre Dame, and that's it there. But he's enjoyed himself. Loves football, and he's gotten better since he's been there. So he knows he made the right decision going there. Just football is this much a part of his life. That degree he's going to get from there is going to help him just project him for the rest of his life on an upward level. I hope.
So he's going to be a freshman in September, right? Is that
Correct. Yep.
okay? So I'm going to be
Yes.
watching him, man.
Yeah. Hopefully he's on the field. We'll see, man. We'll see if he's out there special teams or defense. You never know.
Brian, has he ever? It's hard for kids to listen to their dads. They rather listen to another voice.
You're exactly right, Eddie. Yep.
So now, but here's the thing: you're a fucking NFL Hall of Famer, right? Why
I
would you not
know. I
listen to
know,
you,
man.
right?
Bro. It's crazy because there was probably. I mean, he got really good the older he got, but there was a few years there he wouldn't talk. We wouldn't talk about football at all. He didn't talk. I didn't know shit, according to him.
Mhm.
And then when he got to high school, finally, my man was like asking me questions. I was like, yes, here we go. So we had some great conversations in there on our couch. His junior and senior year, he finally come in there like he's like, all right, Dad, in cover two, if this guy releases here, what should I look for? Or if the guard pulls on this play, I'm like, fuck yeah, you're asking me all the right questions, bro. These are good conversations. He's a deep thinker when it comes to football. He's like mentally, he knows exactly like me. He knows exactly what's going on every play, and he just wants to take that next step by like just knowing all the ins and outs of where guys are supposed to fit and leverage things. It was great, man. We had a good go, but it took a while, Eddie, for him to start trusting me, and I don't know why. Like you said, I'm in the Hall of Fame, but I'm his dad, so it makes sense, right?
But it's crazy that they rather hear it from a different voice and don't listen to the other person.
I'm okay with that, man. As long as the voice is good and someone I trust. His coaches in high school were awesome, man. You know, Leonard Davis played left tackle for the Cowboys, right tackle for the Cowboys, and he played for the Cardinals, number 4 pick in the draft in '03 or '01, whatever. Anyway, Leonard was on the staff there. They got some dudes on that staff, so he had some good voices in his ears when he was at practice.
Brian, did you ever read your fan mail and shit like that?
Oh man, my first couple of years there, about every 3 months, I would sit down and go through it all and sign it and send it back out. And then it just got too much there. I was bad at the end. My mom would help me there a little bit, trying to organize so I could sign it and send it back out. But I neglected it more than I should have late in my career. But early on, I was really good.
Listen,
oh, my wife's giving me the stank eye over here. Like, get your ass out here. And she got the dogs outside so they're quiet. Sorry.
I tell her I was giving her so much compliments.
Yeah,
All right,
I know.
Now
she's out there. She's like, bro, you almost done? And I'm told her to keep the dogs outside so it's not loud. She's like, come on, bro.
No, but do you have to go, Brian? I mean, do you have to go right now?
Pretty soon, I would think. She's
all right. I'm just making sure.
Unless you want to hear some barking really soon.
Well, her barks or the dog barks?
The dogs. The dogs are loud.
How many do you have?
We have 3. We have a golden retriever. She's mine. And we also have Pomeranian, and we have a rescue. He's awesome, too.
Oh, I love golden retrievers.
I told you. Here they come.
Baby.
Here they come. Yeah, they're loud. They're animals.
Brian, your home.
Come here, girl.
Your home in Chicago. You had the game room and all that. Is this still there?
No, I sold it. I sold. Come here. This is Carrie. This is my. Oh, wow. This is my baby. But no, we sold it. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Eddie, can you see her? She's gone. She's gone. Anyway, that's my baby. No, we sold it, man. I sold it 3 years ago. I just didn't spend any time there.
Right.
So it didn't make sense to keep paying the taxes that they pay in Chicago or where I lived. To not be there, it didn't make a lot of sense.
Brian, was it dangerous back then when you played too? Like as far as the city of Chicago?
No, it was nothing like it is right now, and that's another reason why we got out. But I lived up north right by the facility, so it wasn't bad. But right now, man, even visiting now is stressful. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
Brian, it's crazy. You were the 9th pick, and the Bears had this year a first pick.
Rome Odunze. What a great pick. I haven't followed the draft much until recently. Kid's a badass. I watched him. So we're on the West Coast. So I watched UW play a few times, and I could not be happier. They finally got a guy because some of the picks I'm like, what the hell? But this guy, he's a stud. I hope he works out. Caleb was, it's so hard with quarterbacks to know, but you look at what he's done, man. Jeez, I hope he's great. I honestly do. I hope he does a great job. He's a different guy when it comes to athletic ability and throwing the football.
Brian, of the 6 quarterbacks, who do you think is going to who do you think is going to have a great career, man? You know who my gut. I'm going with that kid May and Bo Nix. I don't know
Drake
why.
May. So here's my scenario before the draft. I was like, keep Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to pay him. He's got 1 year left on his deal. Trade the first pick or get a receiver. Or trade it back because Washington wanted to take Caleb, whatever. Trade back, get Harrison, get Odunze, whatever pick you can, and get Bo Nix. Get Michael Penix later in the draft, right? Because I think those 2 guys are pretty talented. Because it's so hard. Quarterbacks are so hard, and I hope Caleb's the best one. I really do for his sake and the Bears' sake. I hope he's the best one. But Drake May, I think, is great too. Daniels, I don't know. He had a couple good years at LSU. Wasn't very good at Arizona State, but who knows? It's hard to tell.
I hear you. Look, I know you
It's a
got to go.
crapshoot.
I just need a favor real quick. Let me just stop.
What's up?
No, I'm just saying I'm going to stop recording right now. Here, this is what I want you to say. All right, hold on.
All
okay, Brian Urlacher, you see him. Here he is. Legend, Chicago. One more question. Michael Jordan ever hang out with you?
Oh, Michael and I were members at the same golf course in Chicago. So, yeah, I played some golf with Michael. I played down at the Grove in Florida. His new golfing place. But, yeah, I like Michael. Michael is a stud. Whenever I see him, first thing he says is, how's your brother doing? First thing he says every time I see him. How's your brother doing? So great.
All right, hold on. Let me finish this. So